Amsterdam. I feel like I'm the best. Need to make man impressive. Fake happiness, feeling merciless. I'm ill, nantawatesa team kubali kesi. Kasi takuimpress na skill ni pamba fresh. Kile tuingia commercial still na kuanga Messi. Prepare kuingia kwa battlefield na mwanajeshi. Mimi naitwa one shot kill. Na feel kipiti.
Keith, do you want to join us on the other StreamYard? Are you there, Keith? Okay.
Mtoto mkorofi, acha nikwambie kauna shakuna machozi ya mtoto mchokozi, itabidi uongeze pilipili kwa biriani, otherwise kasi hivyo wanachama tuliangi, hatutuliangi na ndukulu ni bangi na ina harufu mbaya, inasema tirani lakini haidhuru ni sawa, acha wamie mashinani ina wadhuru vibaya. Zinatubastia kabombom kwa kona, mina squad iko chrome na maconmen na wakora na diploma za kumbwanisha grogon makorola. The bottom na sorora, blana talent so megeuza game Sodom na Gomora. Vuta hiyo trouser juu acha kutuonesha tako, vuta hiyo mini chini na mwaibisha mamako. Kona tafutola najua kupika uji, sio kupiga picha uchi. Unfollow nyako, follow nyanyako, kutaka nyama hapa sawa chief. Ibu chali tunaita kusiwai kulanda na beat suanga yedi kasi kanga. Boga shit unatandikwa kapitamba, bet cover, I'm a hand cut. If your God is money, then you're poor to me. I have a feeling, what do you pretend to be on IG? Talk a nursery, I've been a window, usineke gasoline. Napata mjazima, mechoni you are show 3. Nakamba video, chama video, you ready for you? Waiting for your girl, she's waiting for you. Let's get like yapper like my battle last week on the 2. I deep bend in the carpenter, I feel reasoning sio manga, jinga ndo sio kata. Sacrifice ni kuifanya kwa family sio tapa. Greatness ni kuamkia legacy sio tapa. Kuwa juu ya dhao kakwangu dhao sio tapa. My apartment is Amsterdam, certified Rastaman. Aki sometime na hang, I feel like Amsterdam. I feel like I'm the best, need to make man impress. Fake happiness, feeling merciless. I'm ill, nantawatesa team kubali kesi. Pamba fresh, kile tuingia commercial still na kuanga Messi. Prepare kuingia kwa battlefield na mwanajeshi. Mimi naitwa one shot kill. Na feel kipiti drama like the action film. Na believe in sikitani by a mansion still. Na believe if your God is money, then you're poor to me. I have a feeling, what do you pretend to be on IG? Kutoka nursery, I've been a winner, usineke gasoline. Napata mjazima, motoni you are show 3. Nakamba video, chama video, matumi video, sijoni video, matumi video. Na umese meishamba siezi lima na kamna plau mbili, wengine ni afinyo pekee. Niko na issue ikiwa juu yangu kasi kofia. Kwa issue za vitabu za historia, jina yangu watoi wako wataisoma pia. Ataka utadedi kusema huku wainisikia. Nishakusikia kila ya ukilia utarang next year. Sidisia pia ilianza ukilia walai this year. Bestia na quit niko high this year. Sitakuwa high next year, kata kwa high next year. Excuse me, please, sorry, thank you. Mission impossible, keep on ingorijo. Nice kupato ki try too hard to be perfect. Sometimes jiperusa tu kwa ratchet. Smile kabado utapita budget. Nagome utapita shida chini ya carpet. Inapiga mshinda earthquake. Inapiga mshinda earthquake.
Good afternoon, good morning, everybody. Good afternoon, good morning, everywhere you all here at Let's Talk with Iriton, back again this afternoon. Thank you guys joining us live on TikTok, StreamYard, Facebook, and Twitter. We're going to have an amazing conversation in regards to the bill. What is the finance bill, and the review and the update of the finance bill in regards to basically who isn't behind the finance bill. I have guests today. Thank you so much for joining us this beautiful afternoon. Really appreciate your presence. Thank you so much for availing the time. Y'all are going to introduce yourself first here in the studio. We have H Money with the money plans.
You got it right, Eve.
Okay,
Yeah.
SH money with the money plans.
Yeah. With the money plans.
Yeah.
Good afternoon, Iwaton.
Good afternoon.
I'm doing good.
Yeah.
Karibuni sana. My name is Shmani.
Yeah.
Just like all of you had SH with the money plans, and I am so excited to be here for the second time. Thank you so much.
Thank you for joining me. Really always appreciate your presence.
Asante sana, Iwaton.
Yeah, and Enoch, you're gonna introduce yourself. Mr. Erickson, you're gonna introduce yourself, and then you're gonna start this amazing conversation.
Thank you so much. Being a second-time guest, I'll give it to Eric to introduce himself first, and then I'll go next.
Okay, thank you.
Does that sound right? All right, perfect.
Okay. So my name is Erickson Odhiambo. I'm a Kenyan, very active youth in politics and governance, and also the Secretary General of Third Way Alliance. And it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Eric. My name is Enoch. I am also a Kenyan, but based out of Rwanda. Also very much interested in politics. I'm one of the fans who just make sure they follow the news on a day-to-day basis to get updated on what my country is doing and how they're going. I am in the private sector in business. So yeah, that's a brief intro about myself.
Amazing, guys. Thank you so much for joining in. And first of all, yesterday the demonstration happened, and a lot of the youth, the Gen Zs, a lot of showed up, and also the young millennials. We saw that Shimani was giving an update in regards to that. And this morning, Erickson was giving us an update in regards to like the fact that this generation is really fired up, very fearless. And before we start, I wanted Mr. Erickson right now to basically explain the meaning of finance bill, because maybe some people are listening, they might not. I know people are just understanding finance bill, but maybe you can expound on that, and then we can move on from there.
Okay, thank you. So every year, the government comes up with a budget. In this budget, they normally have what we call domestic borrowing and domestic borrowing, taxes, and also external borrowing. So the finance bill is a document that is drafted by the technocrats and what we call the Budget and Appropriations Committee in Parliament to know where they're going to get the money from the population. Now, this is money that is raised domestically in terms of taxes. That is basically in normal vernacular language, what the finance bill is. In layman's language, that's what I meant. And now this bill, why it's so contentious, it's very important that I mention this. It's because it affects each and every sector of the economy. So the finance bill will be in agriculture, all the sectors. It will be in finance, banking, everywhere. That is where the bone of contention is, because now Kenyans are realizing from independence we've been having finance bills, but they've never really interrogated how their finances are being utilized. So that's why we are here. Thank you.
Right. Sorry, we're having a problem with our network, but you said something before you got cut off, Mr. Erickson.
Oh, okay. So I said now, after the technocrats and the Budget and Appropriations Committee draft it, it needs to go to Parliament, who have been given. Parliament has three cardinal rules: legislation, oversight, and representation. So they play the representation aspect to represent our interests in Parliament by approving or disapproving the finance bill.
Right.
And that is why the bone of contention and all the attention has been in Parliament, because people now have interrogated and they've realized that Parliament we have is representing the interests of the executive and not the people who are the masses.
Right. And don't you think, or do you think the guys who are the parliamentary group who are basically voting into the controversial classes of the taxation, are they, Shimani was talking about the fact that last year they were basically being paid to vote yes, right?
They were
to vote in for the finance bill.
Yeah,
They're
she's
being
right.
threatened by the president.
They were manipulated,
Right.
rather, to vote in for the finance bill.
Right.
And there were threats that they were given. Literally, ulikuwa nasikia even the president himself saying, "No, ukijaribu kuvote no for that, you're gonna face consequences."
Right.
I don't know specifically how they were threatened. Might be family, might be
Right.
jobs,
Right.
might be anything.
Right.
Yeah, but they faced that, and right now you can hear a lot of people talking about also look at the numbers in the parliament. The leading MPs are from UDA,
Right.
and literally UDA is the ruling government. So
Right.
if we are gonna vote, or if they're gonna vote through numbers, then definitely if the UDA decides to vote for this finance bill, they might win it again, literally, because if it's numbers against numbers.
It's so true.
Yeah, but now if it's upon these members of parliament in there to forget about, of course, tribalism,
Right.
and even politics,
Right.
because I heard this politician saying this is not time for politics right now.
Right.
If we don't deliver to these youths right now, the hustlers that voted us in 2027, we're going to face a lot. So it's super crazy. That is just what is happening. Yeah, but there's manipulation of politicians in there.
Right.
Like literally, even right now, you can see even some from Azimia moving to the UDA.
Yeah.
So it's kind of wavy.
Literally.
Yes, it's kind of, they've never had a stand.
Yeah.
If you ask, where are you from?
Yeah.
Who are you standing in with?
Yeah.
Like, where is your stand on all this?
Yes.
They're 50-50 about it. So it's kind of wavy to know, what might happen.
Right.
Because literally, numbers, with numbers, we're expecting a clear vote of
yes.
Might. Yeah.
It's so true. I can see there's a guest who's joined us. You can kindly introduce yourself as we continue with the conversation. Alrighty, but you can just go ahead as is it Divine to basically introduce themselves. But in regards to that, Enoch and also Erickson, in the morning we had this conversation, and Shumani said if the MPs this bill is going to be discussed in Parliament, and we'll be able to see the members of Parliament who basically vote in yes and no, which will be something to basically wait for. And she was talking about what you're talking about in, I think, yesterday in the morning show. And you said we need people to go out and get a lot of signatures to basically impeach the members of Parliament who are definitely saying yes to the finance bill. Do you agree with that? And basically, who do you think is behind all this bill? Because everything that is there, no one is agreeing with it. Who's basically coming up with this finance bill in regards to what should be taxed? Everything should go high. Who's basically behind it in regards to your thoughts?
Can I go? Or
yeah, sure.
First? Okay,
anybody can
go. So first of all, you've asked a very, very important question, and it is something that has been put to test. So there are two issues here that we need to really, really put it clear, the way your co-host has asked, so that we understand why there is the online pressure converted into boots on the ground yesterday.
Right.
So number one, this finance bill, without fear of error, has been drafted by people with interest in IMF and World Bank. This finance bill.
Okay.
You will see the embarrassment that the PS Treasury went through when he was being asked by Sam Gituku, what is the logic behind the 2.5% tax on motor vehicle running? You could see the embarrassment. You could see the embarrassment that Kimani Kuria, the chairman, Budget and Appropriations Committee in Parliament, when he was asked by Sam Gituku, so you're taxing bread because it causes diabetes. I mean, it's diabolical. I mean, it's out of this world. I don't even want to imagine it. Yeah. So clearly, these people are puppets. They were given a document already drafted for them to pass, and it went through State House, who is the president, who assented to it, right? So that is where that is the genesis of the problem, and that is why now, when it came to Parliament, the people, who is me, you, and the larger population, in the last election, we voted around 22 million of us. They expected these members of Parliament to actually vouch for them. How? If this is good for the country, you put a tick. If it is bad for the country, then you actually generally just reject it. So I will go back to last year, 2022, 2023 finance bill.
Right.
You remember there was an issue with the housing levy that was initially 3%, then it went to 1.5%.
Yes.
This was the first time Kenyans really participated in this budget making and the finance bill process. But now, when it came to this year, I'm telling you, the Gen Z, I have to mention them very, very clearly. They were ready to analyze this document, to get the highlights, the insights, and to understand what is good for them and what is not good for them. And that is the pressure that piled, because in Parliament, initially when Parliament was inaugurated, this August House, the majority was Azimio. But the president bought off some of the MPs from Azimio to his side so that he can always pass bills. And it is a dead parliament, because even the MPs themselves, they've said they are normally given directives from State House to pass a bill or to fail a bill. The majority are not using their legislative powers to represent the people, but to represent they are an appendage of the executive, which is a very sad affair. And that is why the pressure piled, and Kenyans and Gen Z and all Kenyans from all walks of life decided enough is enough. We are going to invoke our right in Article 37 of the Constitution and actually go and protest, picket, and present a petition that we don't want this finance bill. And as per the Constitution, Article 1, the power vests in the people. They only give it to their representatives to actually use it to present them, but not to actually trample upon them. That's what I can say about the current situation.
I have a question for you. When we talk about what I've understood from what he's saying, the MPs use this for their own good.
Right.
They vote in because first and foremost, a lot of people don't read the whole of the finance bill because it's a lot of pages.
It is.
And right now, I like the fact that there is digital marketing, mobilization, where we have even the young people. Even if you don't read it fully, there is somebody who is interpreting for you. Literally, today you'll meet another, tomorrow you'll be like, oh my God, that is another one. So it's out there. And remember, everybody's on this platform, so people are actually reading. And shout out to those who have actually read it, the people who have read it, the people who have analyzed it. Most of these Gen Zs have done that. Remember, they've studied, they understand their lawyers, they're young lawyers, and that is just what's up. But my thought is, when it comes to public participation, now I want to ask you, because personally I've never seen anybody, and I've never had, every time I go to the street I ask, did you vote for, or did you actually count for this? Because I hear something statistically, there is a 30% of people who agree to this law, 20%, so I'm asking, how does that go? And who are these people? Or is there like a, where people come and meet and they vote in? I don't really understand the public participation. How does that go?
How does that work?
So, I was part of public participation, so I'll tell you how it is. So when a notice is given for around 2 weeks for you to give, for the general public to give their memorandum and their thoughts, and there's always, there's now a town hall to actually present. You can actually present both digitally and also manually, and be present at the public participations. So I gave a memorandum last year and this year. The problem with the public participation is that it was not meaningful. What do I mean? So apart from the pressure that has mounted, apart from the public participation that we participated and went to KICC actually, to actually meet the budget committee, is that they take these views, but they don't include them in their final report, unfortunately. So they take the views. Last time they said it was thousands of pages, so they could not include everything. They worked. This time they went back to Naivasha to write a report. I've not seen the report yet, but I'm telling you, the pressure that has mounted for the executive and the parliamentary, the ruling coalition majority, to give the statements and to recede some of the finance bill aspects yesterday by line item is because of people coming out. or both digitally on social media and on the streets of Nairobi, but not public participation.
All right. So when it where is it written that because you told me it's 2 weeks prior, right?
Yes.
Where how do people know that it's already out? And can anybody go there to these town halls or to KICC? Anybody, or there's a representative?
Yeah, any Kenyan can go. It is normally published in the Kenya Gazette and also in the dailies for everyone to see. So that is it is a requirement by law, so it is done. But I'll tell you something, and I understand where your co-host Ewoton is coming from, because it is a culture in Kenya that the leadership doesn't listen to the hoi polloi, that is the normal people. So many Kenyans shy away because they don't feel like they have a say or they have the right channels to channel their frustrations. And that is why you were seeing the explosion, the social explosion right now with the current generation we have of the millennials and Gen Zs.
Right. Mr.
Ewoton, just to give out a point, this is the fact that I think people in diaspora don't get the chance to participate in the finance. We just have to read it from our side. But being in the private industry in terms of financial analysis, there's nothing different that financial year 2024-2025 finances is different from how businesses run it. Now, why I will agree with Eric in terms of the bill was not originally due to the process of National Treasury in terms of planning of the finance bill. There has to be different stakeholders who participate in this. Now, in those stakeholders who participate in this, there has to be legal advisors. Now, I do not believe that legal advisors will sit down and agree to pass such a finance bill, which definitely will burden the taxpayer, both in Nairobi and even for people who are outside. So even for us who live outside Kenya, we are having a challenge agreeing with this finance bill. Basis the fact that it also limits us in terms of financial support for our families and friends back in Kenya, because everything is going to go up, which is going to reduce our income that we are supposed to generate for our families back at home. And that's why I will say Eric is right, basis the fact that this finance bill had to be passed by one person and shoved down the throats of the rest, so that they can be able to put it across. And then you see the kind of revolution that the young people have already initiated in Kenya, and they are rejecting the finance bill. I think if you heard the news, one of the ministers tried to sugarcoat the finance bill and said it is revenue generation measures that they are trying to implement for the country to be able to generate revenue, which will impact the lives of Kenyans. And that's why in the previous discussion, I say that I do not think imposing high taxes, because they brought new taxes and they also increased taxes, which will put a very tight burden on every Kenyan to contribute. And the only way for futuristic purposes, if I was in the Ministry of Government and being in a private sector and how we generate revenue, the best approach to have a proper finance structure for the country is to see futuristic measures on how to reduce taxes, increase investment in terms of different companies bringing work into Kenya, increase job opportunities, and then find people to tax. Now, if you do it in this kind of statute, definitely you're going to create increased crime. People are not going to give out more as you anticipate to get more. They're just going to keep their monies under their mattresses, and you'll see that whatever projections they have for the finance bill will not even be met because nobody has money.
Yes, and just before it skips my mind or my train of thought, Enoch, thank you so much. You've mentioned things that I really wanted to mention. So number one, they're targeting people in diaspora because they wanted to increase the taxes on remittance of any money from diaspora and financial services. That's number one. Number two, what you've said is very clear. Why don't we have an opportunity in each and every county that can be actually industrialized? Okay, we are at 90% consumption country. We are not industrialized enough to be self-sustenance. Like maybe say we keep talking about comparing ourselves to the Asian tigers like Singapore, China, but they are industrialized. So another thing that Enoch mentioned that I don't want to skip my mind is about the advice that the president is getting. Number one, when they said they have been collecting 1.5% housing levy, but have you seen any houses? They put this money into treasury bonds. They bought treasury bonds. My God, how can we function like this? So young people are tired of being lied to. These young people are actually the ones who are going to inherit all this debt and any development or non-development country that we're going to have. So I think I welcome the revolution with both hands, mind and soul, very open to it. Another thing why you see all these problems is what Enoch has said very well. We need to reduce taxes. How do we reduce taxes? What are the solutions? And that's why I came up with some of the solutions. And we went around this country and we asked people, between having this representative gobbling up 50 billion in parliament and having water, security and education at your doorstep, acceleration of development to the lowest level of representation, that is the word. What do you desire? Kenyans say, no, we don't care. So which means actually Kenyans, if Kenyans had a system that is functioning and a system where they have everything that they need in their life, they will not even care who's the president. So we just need a system that is functioning.
That is so true.
They will not care who is the president. But what we have right now is the political elite have made sure that they remain with the majority of money that is collected, and they don't develop their constituents, so that their constituents remain at their mercy of handouts. And that's why Gen Zs have said, we don't want handouts, we want opportunities. So this revolution is of people who say, no, we don't want handouts, we want opportunities, we want representation, and we want meaningful representation, not just representation of word of mouth. And it's a good conversation. I am really praying that it will not be hijacked by the status quo, by the political elite. Let it have it. So we should not throw the baby away with its bathwater. Let it have a lifeline, and we will go somewhere.
I want to agree on what Enoch and our guests just said, Eric, right?
Yes.
And applaud the fact that this is like a big threat to the government.
Yes.
Because they're used to handouts, and personally we call it politics, where we have them coming and giving you 500 bob, 200 bob, and then it's not gonna sustain you, and you're still gonna need more. And of course, if you're still gonna need more, you're gonna come back to them, and they're gonna give you 200 shillings again, and you keep coming. Nobody wants to give you a permanent job where you won't be coming back to ask for money. And that is why we find Gen Z right now and the young millennials actually saying, show us on how to make the money. Don't give us the money. We are tired of your handouts. And I feel like that is a big threat. The government didn't expect this. Literally, they didn't expect the Gen Z would react like this.
I agree.
They are used to, because I've been watching what has been going on today in the courts. And personally, I feel like tax is not a problem.
It's never been a problem.
Collecting tax is not a problem. Because even if overtaxation is not a solution again, I believe if you look at what is happening, even last year, they collected tax. No accountability for nothing. No, if we could have people collecting tax and then it is accountable, used for the right purposes, then even taxation will reduce. Because at the end of the day, if this money is meant for schools or for hospitals or for industrialization, and it has been used for a very same purpose, meaning next year there's going to be little taxation taken from people and more employment, or rather there won't be problem of taxation where when you write the finance bill everybody will be okay to pay it. But the problem is you want to collect more tax. After collecting more tax, then you are stealing the money, putting them in your pocket, or giving it to whoever is required, because know that these people are puppets, and they don't make these decisions for themselves. They are directed, they're told, collect this money without question at the end of the day. And I believe that is like a really, 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 really big problem right now. And it is a threat. Even if you saw Ruto yesterday saying, I'm a proud father, you can say the smile is tensing. If you know how you can tell. There's like this tense smile. You're like,
it's not real.
It's not real. I know. And you could even see, Gachagwa's reaction was so bad, so mad, and stuff like that. You can read body language.
The body language was not giving. And what you said is true. Like we raised a question. We've been asking people. So how can an MP who earns only 800,000, not taxed yet, contribute 20 million in Harambes every month, every weekend? It means there's a lot of theft that is happening. Yes, that's Sudi. I mean, where does he get this money? It just doesn't make sense. Unless the sensible thing to know is that they are taking this money from public coffers, which is our money. We want our money to work for us. We don't want our money to work for the interest of an individual.
Allow me to jump in for a second. Allow me to jump in and I've quietly listened the last 40 minutes. Allow me to jump in right here. First of all, there are no political elites in Africa. The setup is a fiefdom. They're thieves, puppets. They're all in the beginning of Africa. These parliamentary systems are European-based systems. They were all set up as fiefdoms. So what you think is happening in Kenya is happening in Nigeria, Ghana, Africa-wide, Black Africa-wide. And like I told you guys, the youth were getting enough information finally to know what was going on the ground. But me being prior intelligence in the military, in American, I knew it was going to be the youth. I said, you got a revolution coming to Africa. Everybody said I was joking. I said, you got a revolution coming. Because the problem with Africa has been information starved or set as a desert of information. So most Africans didn't know how things work or how things even exist. So these puppet families were set up all throughout Africa, okay, after you got supposedly independence, this fake independence. What you see now, what's happening in South Africa with that fake election down there in Kenya, you have a re-scramble for Africa because a lot of the Africans are starting to wake up. You have a re-scramble. So these puppets that have been installed, see, the white man already knew you were waking up. Most of these goofy puppets, they don't have a clue because they're ignorant, the morons. You got the moron class that you call your political elite in Africa. They're picked because they're morons. All these families were morons. They were willing to sell out other African people for their own benefit. You got the Jomo Kenyattas and all these other puppets, the Nelson Mandelas, all these phonies that were put in power by the white elite to make sure that that flow of money didn't stop going upward to them. See, the Africans are starting to understand you're the most important continent on the planet. See, this is not hyperbole. This is a fact. Africa is the most important continent on the planet. Whoever controls Africa controls the world. So you might not know that now. You know, you got Africans dying in the Mediterranean because you've been miseducated and undereducated. What you have now with that fake ass bill in Kenya is them now trying to stop the development. Understand what this is, guys. These taxes destroyed, as he was saying, industry. Why are there not industries in Africa? Because the white man don't want them there. People that run the banks, the Rothschilds that own the banks in Kenya and South Africa, they don't want them there. You're supposed to stay underdeveloped, so those resources will go to white people to build their empire in Asia. A lot of Africans don't even know that Asia was built by America. When you see this fake dance between China and America, understand it's fake. I just did on Joby's show, it's fake. The Americans created China. China was poor than Kenya 40 years ago. How's China richer than Kenya now? Because it was set up. It's fake. It's fraudulent. The people that run the country, run the world, created China. China's a fake country. And so what you see now is the re-scramble of Africa because the youth are starting to wake up. Say, hey, we've been given a raw deal. How things actually work in this country? How things work in Africa? Because it's copy and paste. What you see in Kenya is happening in Nigeria. What you see in Nigeria is happening in Ghana. We see Ghana happen in Zimbabwe, Zambia. It's the same copy and paste. So now what they're trying to see, these youth are now waking up because they're having more information shared through their social media that they create. Understand, all social media was created by the CIA. All of it. There's no independent Facebook, independent Google, independent Twitter. All of it was created by the CIA to have a means of data gathering to make sure that Africa and other countries never rose. So it's mostly spy work. So that's why you get mass censorship now, because they see now Africans are sharing content over the continent. They say, hey, I'm living in the same situation you are. Because understand, Africans were given tribalism. They were given all these tribal differences. You're a Kikuyu, I'm a Lua, I'm a Hausa, I'm a Fulani, I'm a Yoruba. All this insignificant, mind-numbing nonsense. Understand, you're African first. The reason why you don't have power, because you're tribal. And they've kept you ignorant. Like I've always taught you guys, why do you think that Africa is the only continent, Black Africa now, make sure you understand Black, not the invaders up north. Why is Black Africa the only place you got school fees? There's no school fees nowhere else. No school fees in Asia. No school fees in America. There's no school fees in South America. There's no school fees in Europe. School is free. All these things are to make sure Africans are not taught to a certain level. And the education you do get is based on lies. All your history is a lie. Everything you're taught is lies. So you're to make sure you're staying in this perpetual loop of poverty when you sit on the richest continent on the planet. Should nobody in Africa ever be poor? Ever.
Yeah.
So what you see through this bill is making sure that Africa doesn't develop. It's about your development. This is to hinder it. And understand the powers that be. So when you like I told my good friend from Rwanda, when they say, oh, Coca-Cola, all these people pulled out. That's all bullshit. Because the people that implemented this thing, they want to pull out. The people that implement it, they do not want Africa to develop. I told you guys, always understand, don't look at surface level nonsense. People that own Coca-Cola are the same ones that wrote that bill. The IMF, BlackRock. That's why I had you look up the shareholders every time.
Yeah.
I want you to look up the shareholders who actually owns these companies. They're the ones who wrote the damn bill. So don't say, oh, it's the bill that's making Coca-Cola pull out. That's kabuki theater. That's nonsense. They want them to pull out. They want Africa to stay undeveloped because they need those resources that Kenya, Nigeria, Ghana, especially Congo has to support their lifestyle, support their wealth. Understanding, Europe was always poor. White people were always poor until they got their hands on Africa. You never taught this real history. Europe was backward, poor, illiterate until they got their hands on Africa. And their main thing is to make sure Africa, I know it's true, the main thing is to make sure Africa never develops. That's what this bill's about. It's to put subjugation back into Africa. But they didn't realize, well, they did realize, because they said these goddamn Africans are starting to wake up to this con game. They're starting to understand that these people that's supposed to be called presidents are not. Ruto's supposed to be at the Hague in prison. Him and Uhuru for murdering Kenyans back in 2007. They were made presidents. You understand this? They were given presidencies, put in power. They committed genocide against Kenyan people. So they say, we're not going to convict you guys because you guys are going to be our puppets. This is how it works in Africa. Like my man talking about Kagame puppet ass down in Rwanda and Museveni. They're put there. Kagame and Museveni supposed to be at the Hague too. They're supposed to be indicted for war, for crimes against Africans. You got Kagame right now committing genocide in the Congo. Because of what? Because of the wealth of Africa, family. So that's what you see happen right now in Kenya. It's about the wealth of Kenya not going to the Kenyans. And now the Kenyans are smart enough to understand. Finally, they're not scared anymore. They're not talking about, well, let's all pray to Jesus. Let's all pray to Allah. Fuck that. Why are we impoverished when we're in Africa and this is the richest continent? Why are we not benefiting from the resources of our continent and everybody else is? You think China's there to be your friend? They're not. You think the Europeans your friend? They're not. None of these people are your friend. It's Africa because it's wealthy. Okay? And now you're starting to wake up and say, hey, why don't we have industries here in Africa? Because they don't want industries in Africa. Family, understand. Let me give us a short understanding real quick.
Okay.
China. I'm going to use China, okay? China was poor, backwards, impoverished. Now, common sense would tell you it would be easier for you to build infrastructure in Africa because everything's in Africa. Why would you go to China when you still have to ship everything out of Africa to build China up? China has nothing, has no resources. So why would you build in China? I mean, in Africa, because the scam was to keep African people on the bottom. See, China was built by the West, as I was showing Joe, but these are facts. China's not no independent miracle. And the African think, oh, China's going against the West, it's beating the West. Hey, moron. China was built by the West. Purposely. Because that's another scam because the African was waking up to the IMF and these fake loans. It's a way they could come in the back door and get these other fake loans from the Chinese and put Africans in debt. Africa doesn't need, you guys keep talking about investment. Africa don't need no investment. You have everything that the world needs. If you ever get free of your fake political systems, this is how you would do. Shout out to Ibrahim Traoré, understanding this. If you want what I got, because you need what I have to keep you afloat all over the world. You need what I have. I don't need Africa doesn't need shit anybody else has. Everybody needs what Africa has. Okay, this is how we're going to play ball. This is why you need to come together and learn to unite. Because if you want what I got, you're going to build factories in my country. I'm not talking about no damn investment. You're going to build them because you need what I got. You're going to extract the minerals? Okay, cool. I'm going to let you do that. But you're going to teach every Kenyan, every Nigerian, every Tanzanian, everybody the damn technology that you use to extract these minerals. So in 5 years, I want every African to know how to build it themselves. I want every African to go into business for themselves and be your competitor. And they're going to get first dibs because they're African. They're going to get first right of refusal because they're Africans. It's their land, it's their continent, and they're supposed to benefit the most. This is not a shared thing because don't nobody share with the African. It's grab and steal. So this is what they're trying to stop. This consciousness is coming back. Understand, Africa has always been wealthy, always. Always. They've never been taught this. I'm telling you, Africa has always been wealthier than everybody else. That's the reason why they came in to colonize you. Not to bring you Jesus or Allah. Came in because you're wealthy. And it's the raping and the stealing over the last 500 years and miseducation has put you there. But time is not linear, family. It's cyclical. The white man learns from when I was intelligent. It's cyclical. The African is, everything's going to rise and fall. The African is coming back up to dominance. They're trying to stop that. You're not going to stop it. You're not going to stop what Africa's going to become. Africa will rise back to dominance because Africa's always been the dominant continent on the planet. Okay? No matter what puppet you put there, it's not going to stop anything. You got to raise the rise of African people. And you puppets, you're going to get this work. Kagame, Museveni, Tinubu. All you people going to get this work. Because no matter how many times the CIA is trying to kill Ibrahim Traoré, there's one African consciousness. That's why they keep trying to murder Ibrahim. Every 5 days there's a coup in Burkina Faso. Because that's a real African leader. And Africans, you have the same consciousness. And it's going to be a domino effect. That's what they're scared about. As my friends already told me, they're scared as shit of you waking up. And Kenya, shout out to you youth in Kenya, that's what you're showing. So go ahead. Go ahead, Airtime.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, kids, for that information. Everything you said is basically what's happening. Yeah, and what's been going on. But as I said, it's time for like people definitely right now to wake up, and they're waking up because, as Keela said, right now what has been hidden from us is basically the knowledge. Because even everything we're being taught is not what we're supposed to learn. Everything we're being taught in school, we've been taught in school, it's things which basically will never help us.
And you pay for it. And you have to pay school fees in Africa. You know, first time I went to Africa, I'm like, what? First time I went to Ghana, Kenya, and I went to, I said, school fees? What the fuck is a school fee? Yeah, we got to pay to go to school. And they're the worst schools ever. Like, what? What are you paying for? You living in these shacks? What the hell is going on? Because when I was in the American military, like I said, I was in Japan. The first trip was to Ethiopia, then to Ghana, then I went to Nigeria, South Africa, Tanzania, Kenya. I was like, this is absolutely crazy. What are you paying for? You're paying for bad education and bad schooling. Go ahead, guys. You guys got to go ahead.
Thank you so much. We appreciate you. You can go ahead, Mr. Erickson or Shimani, in regards to the conversation.
Let him go on.
Okay.
Yeah. So, just to mention two quick things. Burkina Faso, it's right that France uses uranium in their bulbs, but they have never produced any.
Yeah.
Tells you what the problem is. And Nigeria, being one of the biggest having one of the biggest oil deposits in the world, with a population of 200 million, more than 3/4 of the population are extremely poor.
It's impoverished. Because you know why? Same people that passed that bill in Kenya, trying to pass that bill, own those oil wells, have stolen those oil wells in Nigeria. It's the same people. But you guys are dig. Look up who are those people. Why is Nigeria poor? Nigeria has more oil than Saudi Arabia and Abu Dhabi. Why are they impoverished? Because
so I think the problem is that's why I'm very happy being in Kenya right now. The young people have realized the problem is the leadership. We need to change the leadership. Yeah, we need to change the leadership.
You got to change the whole system. It's not even just the leadership. You got to tear it down because the system itself. Go ahead.
In the morning, I was telling Ewaton the same thing, that I hope this revolution will not be hijacked by the status quo and state agents.
They're going to try. Oh, yeah, that's going to try, because they're going to always bring the state agents in to cause chaos, right? They're going to say, oh, look at this uprising. It's violent, and that's going to be them doing it. Of course, that's the MO. That's been known forever. They're always going to have what they call state provocateurs in there causing damage. That's not actual individuals, so they can hijack the movement. The whole thing, all these European systems of control are going to have to be torn down. The parliamentary system was created by the Europeans to make sure you stay in check, you stay underneath their thumb.
Yeah.
Understand, all this fake thing they call democracy, no such thing as democracy. It's all fake, it's all wordplay, nonsense. Everybody go read the Machiavelli, the book, The Prince. Machiavelli, the Prince. It's all stagecraft. It's all phony. If you believe, I'm voting for this, I'm voting for that, well, if I control both parties and control your opposition and the people that win, you have no vote. You have no voice. That's the scam. So that's what's happening in South Africa right now. That they understood that these Africans in South Africa, even though they're xenophobic and they still kind of stupid down there, I still love you guys. You're my brothers, but you're still backwards. Africans are not your problem. Africans don't have the wealth. The white man that's there that stole the wealth. But they knew you were waking up, so they came in and just stole those elections down there. Because there's no democracy. They put their white people back in power, gave Ramaphosa an ultimatum, this is what you're going to do. And the South Africans like, who? Who owns the country? Who runs it? Go ahead.
They're now in a coalition government with the DA, which is the white minority.
Of course. The DA, well, they're the white minority, but they own the power of the country. They own all the businesses. So I always tell Africans, it's not about investments, family. You know, get rid of that investment talk. That's the Westerner taught you that dumb shit. They need investment. They own those companies. They don't need no investment from these people. You have everything they need. You don't need them to invest in you. You need a fair deal, and that means you need power. You got to have power back. You don't need any investments. They don't need that. The DA's not there to invest. in these Africans in South Africa. They're now to keep robbing and stealing because those elections were stolen. I already know that for a fact. But that's them South Africans. You're about to go through some real pain. But you might have to, it might bring you the revolution finally. I don't know. That's what's going to have to happen. Because these white people are never going to let Africa go without a fight.
In South Africa, I have a very good friend of mine called Julius Selo Malema. And he has the party called EFF, Economic Freedom Fighters. But you see, even the status quo is fighting him. He only garnered 10% of the total vote, getting only 44 MPs. But the DA and ANC got the 300 plus parliamentarians, and the speaker position was given, deputy speaker position was given to the DA. So, like you said, when the system is corrupt, getting a revolution is hard. Because that guy has tried in South Africa. I have to give it hats off to him.
We got to say, Julius Malema, also go back. Julius Malema is another puppet, too. Sorry, tell you. Go back and go to his funding. Told you, don't ever go with the speeches. Go back to funding. Who funds the EFF? Find out if it's independent. It's not. You'll be surprised. Quietly go back and go to the African people. Don't get caught by the flashy things by giving a good speech. Get the speech. Just like I told people about Bobby Wine years ago over in Uganda. He's the new puppet. Because they don't want Museveni's son to take over. They think he's an idiot. So they put the new puppet. He's the puppet and rape Bobby Wine over in Uganda. He's a phony. He's a puppet. So understand who funds the EFF, guys. Don't always think about the shiny thing because people say some good things. Go back and research who's funding it. They don't got any jobs. Who's funding the EFF? Go back and look under the damn hood. Who's funding the EFF? Go back and look at the funding. Don't look at what Julius Malema is saying, the goofy speeches. Who's funding it? Where does this money come from? Always understand.
Are you there, kids?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, understand. Always go to the funding. Who funds the EFF? And you're going to be surprised. Go back and look at the funding. Don't get caught up in the dumb speeches, African people. You got to grow up. You have to grow up. You can't get caught up with goofy speeches. Some people say some good things. Go to the funding. Who funds it? Who pays? Whoever pays the bill is actually the controller of any kind of organization or institution. Who funds it? Because understand they fund subversion groups in Africa and everywhere around African people to make you believe that they're working in your behalf when they're actually not. So I'm not going to say nothing bad about Julius Malema, but I want you to go look at the funding first. Come back and tell me who funds the EFF. Once you go look at it, then you'll be surprised. You're like, these people ain't pushing for no African liberation, and they're not. See, the whole thing about Julius Malema, he's supposed to build up enough ball in Africa saying good things that would catapult himself into other African countries, and you'll fall for the same trick bag again. It's a trick bag. But you Africans, you won't go deeper. Who funds it? Don't ever get caught up with dumb speeches and say they believe this. Go to the funding. Go back to the funding always. And say, okay, who funds this EFF shit? Okay, you go back to the funding. They're not for no African people. He's just a front man saying good shit that you'll get all excited about. And then you say, we need the EFF. And remember, I'm going to fund all of it. I'm going to fund the DA. I'm going to fund the EFF because at the end of the day, remember, I still win. Whoever wins, I win. Because you believe the EFF is here to fight for justice and you'll put them all throughout Africa. Then you not knowing I control it. And in 30 years, you say, damn, the EFF ain't done shit. What they supposed to be doing? What's going on? In 30 years, I still got the power through the EFF. Always go to the funding, fellas. Funding, funding, funding. Don't be unemotional. Don't listen to good. Everybody gives a good speech. Oh man, I like that speech. It sounds great. Forget that. You're an adult. You go to the funding. Who's funding this shit? Who's backing? Where does his funding come from? Yeah, follow the money. Where's the money come from? So when everybody was, oh, Bobby won. I said, I told my Ugandan staff, I said, hey, follow the money. So when I had Maria, follow the money, guys. Go ahead.
For the Kenyan situation, I think it's my plea to the young people now after the pressure on the streets, we have constitutional mechanisms to at least occupy these spaces of power and making decisions. I think young Kenyans should really be part of the solution by taking up votes and also offering themselves for these spaces and positions of leadership, so that they can really get rid of what my brother is saying here. The white supremacy.
I'm so very proud of you Kenyans, the youth. Yes, it's white supremacy globally, family. You learn white supremacy globally. It's even deeper than what you think. That's too deep for today's discussion. It goes deep. But at the end of the day, it's white people wanting to continue their power. And to continue that power, they must have Africa. Africa is the most important continent. I showed Joby that video this morning. White man being honest. Africa is the most important continent. We cannot lose Africa. We lose everything. And that's a fact.
Yeah.
You guys got it.
Righty. And in regards to this conversation, Shimani, we're talking about the fact that even Mr. Erickson has said that what if it's whatever the people are demonstrating about, it's being hijacked, or they do not adhere to the cry of the people. What do you think is going to happen? The fact that we've gone for demonstration, the fact that we're basically talking about this, because Keith mentioned it yesterday that this might also be like a test to see our reaction in regards how we're going to act.
It's got a psyop. Because they want to see what the youth, because I think they know this, all these social media things are monitored. They create them. But if you think of Mark Zuckerberg created Facebook, that's a made-up lie. You think these other two morons created Google, that's a lie. I told you, go look up something called In-Q-Tel. The CIA created all these social media platforms. Facebook, Twitter, all of them created by In-Q-Tel, with the CIA front group. That's why you think, why you think you had the CIA in Kenya 3 weeks ago. Understand, they're trying to lock down Africa. The people you might see just walking around in Kenya, you don't know they're CIA agents. They just listen how the people think. What's the temperature on the streets? What's going on? They're all CIA agents. Remember, every embassy that America puts in Africa is full of CIA agents. Kenya, Liberia, Namibia, South Africa, all CIA up in there. Okay? Understand, all these fake NGOs are all clandestine agencies. That's why you got so many NGOs in Africa. You got all NGOs all over the planet. You got thousands of them running around Africa because they need to keep Africa. Africa's the most important continent. So they wanted to set up these social media programs that listen to you and you give your information freely. Because you out there giving all your information on social media. I don't have to spy on you. You're giving it to me freely. That's why I created Facebook, created Twitter. Go ahead.
Yeah, so in regards to that, I think, this is the right time to put out what I've been thinking in my mind. So I think what Gen Z can do in this country right now is only two things. Either form their own political formation and party, or join a transformative political party. But joining the status quo, that is both Azimio and UDA, Kenya Kwanza, will be the death of this revolution.
No, create your own. Don't join nothing. No, youth, create your own, because you got to be able to control your own candidates, family. You must have. You can't control any of their like the Rieras and they control all that shit. You have to control your own grassroots candidate from the bottom. So you have to form your own political systems that you own and control. And like you said, you gotta be wary of infiltration because they're coming. They're gonna. Yeah, exactly. They're coming. They're not gonna just let you just form your own movement and not bring their infiltrators to you. Okay, guys. So have a certain system where you can weed out the infiltrators, guys. If you're gonna, but that must be done. The youth must. You are the power. You have the numbers, you. You have the numbers. But you unite and organize, the numbers are yours. You do that with no fear, but you just please set up a way to find out who's infiltrating you. Because they're coming. You are the power. They see it. And they're gonna come like, would you like a big car? Would you like a nice house?
They're gonna buy you out.
You guys are gonna fall into that trap.
Exactly. I saw somebody and I want to agree with both of them. I'm just looking at I'm looking for that because somebody is saying let us actually he said next logical step is setting up a Gen Z stroke millennial political party of Kenya.
It is. That's what you do.
We start a massive ground registration campaign.
Yes, I agree.
We come up with a list of candidates we can support. First target should be the county of Nairobi. And I feel like it's supposed to be the whole of this country.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree. And I am willing to give guidance because I've been part of forming political parties. I am for it 100%. I don't think if we join any existing status quo, like my brother said, will be infiltrated. Some will be bought off. The dream will die.
Yeah. And personally, I was also saying yesterday. I think it's Kachar who gave this thought.
Okay.
And he said, if right now, thank be to God that they're actually, putting it on TV, whole thing.
Okay.
And now we can see our member of parliaments who are outside voting yes to this bill.
Yes.
So his theory was this.
Yeah.
Look at your member of parliament. Right now, you see even the whole conversation in the parliament is outside. And you can see those who are coming out. In fact, one woman, Shanatu, I don't know which MP is this. She said that...
Well, you've been exposed, Shimani, that you don't live in a democracy. The people don't want the bill. So in a democracy, the people rule. So automatically the bill is supposed to be deposed.
The solution, because I was giving an example of this parliamentarian who came and said, I'm sponsoring this girl.
Right. I've heard her.
After sponsoring this girl for her school and stuff like that, before this conversation was brought to the parliament, she actually warned me not to vote yes to this bill, right?
Right.
And I asked her, why are you not voting? Why shouldn't I vote yes? And she said, it's the problem with bread and stuff like that.
Right.
And yesterday during the Mandamano, she saw the girl on TV, right? And she's shocked. Like, I think this has been dropped while in the streets. And the girl is like, hey, I was just creating TikTok. So our opinion is, let us not, make this decision by what happened yesterday. Just like I was telling you, they are threatened. They didn't know this was going to happen. And it's already happening. And it's a revolution. And you asked me a question, Iwatono. What if they pass it? What is going to happen?
Yes, I did.
Another MP came out and said, listen, if we don't serve these people, the hustlers, the way we promised, if we don't deliver, which they're not delivering, we're going to face a very brutal judgment in the next election.
Right.
And know that this is a generation.
Even if they don't deliver, what he's saying, that party's got to be built. Still, even if they do deliver, the power's got to go to the youth. That party still needs to be developed. And if I got to help develop it, we'll develop it. He has experience. That party has to be developed to gain power in Kenya. Period.
I think let's make that happen, because even I think it's true, because even when I was vying for the election last year, I was approached by agents from both status quo to give up my political ambitions, so that someone else can. So it is true, we will be infiltrated. So it is good that the generation Z and the millennials have a stand, have a good leadership, have people who have actually virtues, and we can move this country to another level. But if we agree to be infiltrated by the agents of the existing status quo, this dream will die. I'm saying this on live TV. This dream has to be perpetuated by the generation that decided we don't want handouts, we don't want shortcuts, we want a revolution that is for the country. And yes, I think let's speak to people. Let's make this happen.
I definitely agree with you.
I was saying earlier that at the end of the day, if this is passed, regardless, this generation is woke.
It is,
this is a generation that is fearless.
Right.
You saw what happened yesterday.
Yes.
And you've seen how they're mobilizing. And I was telling you in the morning,
I
don't know how, but everything we think here and we say naturally happens.
It's so true.
The next day or a few weeks, I was just talking about that last week. So it's so funny because I was saying in the morning or yesterday, why don't you mobilize other youths to actually go to the streets? Nairobi started it, and you can see
you said that in the morning.
And today I'm seeing Mombasa is outside. I'm seeing Kapsabet is outside. They have even set dates for Kisumu, like Kipia. Everybody's outside. Nanyuki, Nyeri. I've seen everywhere. Malindi. Set dates before the finance bill is actually out. So you can see a lot of people are woke. This is a generation that is not scared. There is even one from Kapsabet, one-man army, one man, one person on the street. I don't know if you guys have seen it.
I've not seen
He's alone.
Yeah, I've seen that.
He's alone, like literally, ako peke yake na paper, and people are watching. And also what the Gen Z to also notice and teach the older generation. One was actually saying this because do remember, if you come from an African or that are raised by a millennial, really millennial fathers and whatever, they don't have this mindset of exploring and thinking out of the box. They have the old mentality. A girl was saying, my mother doesn't even know why.
Hold on, Shemai. Let's be a little. I told you, let's be a little bit more compassionate. Not that they didn't have that; they were never given that information, and they were taught wrongly. The Africans have been based in fear. You've been given fear and lied. So give them a little slack, at least a little. Don't be too hard on the older generation, okay? I'm just saying, you're right, but let's just be a little compassionate. Go ahead.
All right. You know why I'm saying this? There was one yesterday that was caught on camera.
Okay.
All right, a woman. Maybe we'll. I'm gonna share the video on our chats later. But she was saying, why are you guys outside? We've wasted a lot of money the whole day.
What do you
mean?
What
have you guys been doing?
When you laugh at her and you be respectful, say, ma'am, we're outside for your benefit. If you don't understand, please go back inside and be quiet.
We are crying outside.
Actually,
for that money to come for you.
Actually,
most of these old people, they don't know what is happening
right
and
now.
Actually, you're right.
Let's teach these people.
Right.
Let's educate them.
Yes.
Because right now they're like, what is happening? Why are people going out in the streets? They don't even understand literally that they can't exist.
So to speak to that, Kenyans have been conditioned to be very resilient and defeatist, have a very defeatist mindset. That is true. And that is where Gen Z...
Not Kenyans, African.
African. And that's where that is the trigger that Gen Z exploded with them. They were like, we're not going to be the status quo. We're not going to be intimidated. It's not a defeatist mindset we have. We are doing this. It's either do or die. And that's why we're here. So we need to, as Africans and as Kenyans, need to chart this path moving forward.
Right. Support that. So I agree with what he's saying. And if we can find a way to start organization, do mobilization on the ground, you're the power.
Yes.
And I'm gonna let you know right now, you're scaring the shit out of people in Washington, D.C., in London, in France, and Beijing. You're scaring the shit out of these people. I'm going to let you know, honestly. But go ahead. Oh, I think we lost the guys. The internet went out. But I think, so whatever kind of help you need, let me know, brother, so we can go ahead and start this political movement.
Let's do this.
Yeah. Because I said this spark was coming. So I didn't know what country. I didn't think it'd be Nigeria because it's just too tribal. They've gone and make sure Nigeria will not rise because they're scared of shit of Nigeria because of its population.
Yes.
But yeah, so whatever I can do to help funding, whatever. Let's put this in motion.
I think we're going to start this conversation and we're going to move forward. And I agree. We've scared the shit out of people. I've got a lot of emails and messages and calls. And we are doing this. I think we are moving from these shackles of mental slavery. Let's move forward.
And that's what it is, mental slavery. The use the youth is mental because the idolization of these people, not understanding these people were impoverished before they came to Africa. They were not. They didn't come to Africa to help you. They came to Africa to steal, rob, and kill. They didn't come to give you any benefit. Oh, we came to help you and civilize you when you were the most civilized people on the planet. So it's crazy, but I'm glad the wake up is happening. And so, yeah, I would like to, whatever fund that we can give you, let's go and put it in motion and make it happen. Because,
yeah, I think, I think we're going to speak to Oton. I mean, have exchange contacts and emails and start the conversation as I plan here on the ground.
Yeah, just make some system. Where we can't be infiltrated, right? If they gonna cut. The main thing main thing is infiltration. That's
Eric,
that's the biggest problem. That's the biggest problem.
Go ahead.
No, I was just wanted to tell Eric, as well as the team outside Nairobi, back in diaspora, we also have your full support from our side. We want to see an improvement and a change in our country. So I see the movement that the Gen Z have already started. The government might try to block it, but the thinking capacity that they have for the futuristic projections that we want to see for Nairobi and Kenya and Africa will be done by this young Gen Z, Gen Alpha generation. So any support from our side, we'll definitely give it as well. So you can count on me on that to mobilize my team on this side.
Good. I think we have a starter.
Understand Africans globally in the diaspora. Like me, I'm a diaspora. Family, once we get out of mental enslavement, you go back on top. You're the wealthiest place on the planet. It's just hands down. Everybody needs what you have. That's just a fact. Everybody needs. Get all that crazy investment shit out your mind. No, you're gonna get gangster. You want what I have? Okay, cool. But you're gonna pay for it, and you're gonna educate my people to do it. Or you don't get nothing. They don't got no choice but to say yeah, because they need all their societies are based on what you have in Africa. Okay, you don't bring no bowl in hand and go to these fake summits. I'm at the Kenyan. I'm at the Korean African Summit. I'm at the Japan African Summit. No, you come to me, goddammit. I'm the one that got it. I'm not going to no damn Italy. I'm not going to America. I'm not going to China. You got you asking me for my shit. Okay, you come here to me and tell me your proposition. Okay?
I think,
come back.
Are they coming back?
Yes, they are. I just got a pop-up that they are rejoining.
Yeah, that's what I'm waiting for. Let's see. Wait. Go, guys. You guys got the floor.
For sure, Eric. I see a lot of political change. I remember Ewoton had asked a question: what do we anticipate with the different changes that they want to implement on the finance bill come today, tomorrow, and then maybe probably next week we'll have a new amendment. But we might not have the victory now, but the political change that already has been initiated by the young people, the revolution that is coming, is already in progress. Domino's effect has already taken shape. So what we anticipate to reap in the subsequent coming years, once we get rid of this old generation, who people usually say that the old are wise, but I tend to believe sometimes old people are just old and there might not be any wisdom in it.
I think
that's true. Sadly, that's true.
I think from your question, I think we tend to reap not even in the future, in the very near future, because last Friday, there's a very, very good team called Katiba Institute. They went to court and they wanted to find out what is really holding back the recall clause of recalling these representatives, members of county assemblies and members of parliament. And they were actually given a go-ahead by Justice Chacha Mwita and Odunga in the Constitutional Court of High Court. They were told now you don't need to go to court to start collecting signatures to recall these non-performing members of parliament. I think that's a very good way. I think we need to start this movement that we are anticipating to start. We need to start by testing the waters, by trying to recall these people who are already in parliament as we move forward with an agenda to actually now liberate Kenya and Africans as a whole.
Yeah. Definitely, that's the way we should go, because we are not seeing a lot of brains being in operation in terms of bringing Kenya up to the required standards. So we need to get rid of them and have people who
right now the brains are only IMF and World Bank.
Yeah.
And we got to move now, family, because I told you. See, this is the quest for Africa, because they want to bring the UN to Nairobi, to Kenya. That's a reason for that. That's a reason for that, because that's the recapture of Africa. That's why they trying to. We got to be on this continent. We got to be there, because the youth are waking up. So understand, they listen to everything that's being said. They're listening. Believe me.
Yeah,
so,
sure.
They got to put this. They got to put this movement into action now. So
it has to be now.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
You guys got it.
I was just sitting down, Eric, right now, and I was checking my social media, and I saw Mbeere North MP Godfrey Ruku just tabled a bill in Parliament requesting to have a one year jail term or 100,000 fine for the Kenyans who protested without a valid permit. And I'm just sitting down and trying to wonder.
You don't. Hold on. We're in the Constitution that it says you need a permit. That's your constitutional right. What permit are they talking about? What non-existing permit? See, now they're trying to make all these fake laws about you protesting what is your constitutional right.
That's what I'm trying to wonder. What these people are thinking when they just open their mouths and speak without taking
he's doing that because he's doing that to please the president, because he's part of the majority. And like we have said, because they have numbers in parliament, they think they can pass these duplicitous and like nonsensical bills, but we're not going to accept. The revolution has already hit the road. We just have, the fire is there. We just have to light it up and put it on momentum and burn these people, man. We need to burn this status quo to ashes.
100%.
Yeah, so that we can just have a fresh start.
100%.
Absolutely right. Absolutely right.
All right. I think we're looking into seeing a better change and a better direction for our country right now. I've just dropped out from the news, and I can still see people out on the streets protesting against the bill. So the members of parliament and the leaders, they're not leaders. Let me not even call them leaders, because we have very
they're not. They're puppets.
Those are our servants.
They're not leaders, yes.
They're not leaders.
Because I tend to believe that a leader is supposed to be different. And when he knows things are not going right, he's supposed to take a stand. And when you see people rallying up, I usually like to say lions. Africa is a pack of lions following a sheep, most African countries, because we need to have a sense of direction in terms of where we are heading, basis the different ideologies that we picked up from generations coming towards where we are right now. We need
hold on. You can't really blame the generations, guys, because like I said, they were after you get fake independence, the Africans were told this is what you're going to do, and so they've accepted it, and they were not educated enough to understand that they were being put into a trick bag. You're going to make a parliament. This is what you're going to do. This is how you're going to conduct yourselves. And so, believing that, I'm sure some of them believed that they were going to get free, but they were being put into a trick bag of the Europeans. That they were going to still be controlled,
remotely.
Exactly. Well, exactly. From remote control, exactly. I'm not saying some of them knew, but the ones that did know, they were murdered. Right? You're gonna get unalived. You might find a bomb in your car. You might run into a bullet or something, you might accidentally run into a bullet, somehow, some way. But understand how important Kenya is, guys. This is actually a linchpin of all African countries. I always said you had 4 countries that were very important in Africa: Kenya, Nigeria, Ghana, South Africa. As those countries go, the domino falls down. And so these are the linchpin countries. And so with Kenya waking up as much as, oh, hey, maybe they're back. Okay, they finally back. She just left. You finally back, Eriton? You back, Eriton? I see her. Eriton, you back?
Yes, we're back.
All right.
Sorry about
All right.
Yeah, she's joining in.
Where'd you go? You went to go eat lunch or something?
Welcome back.
No.
It's our power.
Welcome back.
We're having a serious discussion. You go to get lunch.
So we need to reject the finance bill.
No, we would never
See?
do
Yes.
that.
See the power. That's another thing. We're in the 21st century. Africa has all the power on the continent, but Africa has blackouts. Explain that. So that's what we're talking about. Bad leadership. And I would call them leaders, like they said, bad puppetry. It doesn't make any sense Africa has any power outages at all. So that's what we're talking about.
Alrighty, we are almost winding up, guys. But before we do that, 5-10 minutes, we're going to talk about, in regards to what Mr. Erickson has talked about, the political party that I feel like I see it being formed literally, And you've said you've been a part of forming political parties. How does that actually come along, or how does that happen?
So, for you to form a political party in Kenya, you need to get at least 1,000 signatures. That means people who want to join the party in at least 22 counties. It's a process. It's a whole process that in at least 24 counties. Yeah.
Okay.
Out of the 42. No. 1,000 per county, at least 1,000 signatures or supporters in every county. In out of the 47 counties, in at least 22. Then from there, there's the preliminary. There's the preliminary process. You go to the office of the regional political parties. I can give all this because I also agree, because I think we don't want a situation where someone else hijacks this idea and rides it with, and behind it, like my brother here from the diaspora said that they're funding it and we don't know who's funding it. So you are in a very good space in the media. We've already talked. We're going to exchange email addresses and start a conversation around this. I mean, I think we should not waste even a single second, let alone a day, and bring together like-minded people and try and move forward with this.
100%.
Amazing.
I think that is a conversation that is supposed to be going right now on Twitter.
I agree.
Because at the end of the day, we've seen how digital mobilization can work.
There's power
in it. There's power in it.
Yes.
So if it is about counties, everybody is represented.
Yes.
We have more than 1,000 youths per county.
We do.
So it's not supposed to be something that is really, really hard.
Yeah, I mean, so I think let's put our heads together offline and do something wonderful. And history will judge us right. We'll be absolved from blame.
Definitely.
Hoping
we're not going to have any sellouts next time.
Yeah.
Hoping we're not going to have any sellouts.
We'd
love to be part of it.
We'd really love to be part of it.
We
have a lot of people
Why
here
not?
in Kajiado County.
Yes.
So if those stuff come out, make sure you send it to us. We can get it 1,000 signatories.
This is why I love what you guys are talking about. Let me tell you, it is a narrative that is in there that political parties are personal properties. It is a movement. It is a public property. That is why the Gen Zs are different than millennials. All of you have to be there. It's not someone's property. You see, in Kenya, the current political parties are mostly, the big ones are people's businesses. They are bargaining chips. But as we want a movement for the better, for the betterment of the country. So all of you have to be there. I am just volunteering to be part of the steering committee because I understand how these things work. I can give the requisite administration. I just want to be part of the revolution. I can't be left behind. We've been fighting this thing. We've been fighting this status quo for the longest time because I don't believe in this old leadership. Why can't we have our own candidate in 2027? Why can't we have, in the last election, 8 million people did not vote. These 8 million were youth. Ruto garnered 7.4 million. Raila garnered 7.2 million, which means we were the majority. We would have elected our own president. Yeah, 8 million. Those are youth. So, I mean, let's start the conversation. I'm open.
That's exciting.
Yeah, let's open these channels of communication and let's do this.
Now, understand, family, with this, we're going in dangerous waters because, you know, like I said, Kenya's a very important country. I'm breaking. Damn, I'm breaking. Okay, let me be quiet. Shit, I'm breaking up. Let me be quiet because I say we're about to go into some dangerous shit. So you got to be strong because we're gonna get death threats and everything else. Go ahead, guys.
We can't hear you.
Totally.
I know. Go ahead, guys. I'm in the swamp, guys. Go ahead. I'm headed towards New Orleans. Go ahead. You guys got. I'm in the swamp, so I got bad internet. Go ahead.
I think Iwaton froze as well. Something happened, right?
Her internet is not stable.
Oh yeah. I can see that. I don't know if they fixed the undersea cables that were cut.
Or maybe even the lights have gone off again. This country, man.
I'm so sorry about that, guys, but this has been an amazing conversation in regards to the review and update of the financial bill, and also the person who is behind the bill, which everybody has talked about it, and really informative, educative conversation.
Yeah.
And I think we'll have our closing remarks, and also we'll continue in regards to this.
So you guys hear me now? Wait. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now, real quick? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. We got to find a way when we do this to make sure we keep him safe. I mean, you're dealing with forces. This about the world. This is real. And I was in the military. They're gonna come to try to kill us. So we got to make sure we find ways to keep him safe, right?
Okay.
You know.
Yeah.
So we got to. So we got to understand what's gonna happen. We got to move forward. We got to, understand. This might cost our lives, but fuck it. Some things are worth dying over.
Right.
Some things are worth dying over. So much love, family. Let me get out here. I'm in the swamps of New Orleans, so my internet's messed up.
Thank you so much, Keith. So much love.
All right.
Okay, Mr. Erickson and Enoch, closing remarks, and then we'll definitely continue this conversation on also maybe, hopefully, on my next.
Yes. So I think my closing remarks will be, I think, very, 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 very brief, because I want to say thank you to the people who woke up to go and stand for something for Kenya. That is what I'm saying. Thank you so much.
So sorry.
And yes, that's I want to say thank you. I want to appreciate these people. We can have a lot to say, but if we don't appreciate these people who came in droves, 400 were arrested, but still we continued with the march. And I also want to say that I am in to go to these trenches with the willing Gen Zs and millennials and people who are willing to change. My track record is there for anyone to check. I've never started. I am very consistent with having alternative leadership in this country. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Erickson. I really appreciate your presence here and your participation.
Get his contact number. Get his contact number, Erickson. Get his contacts.
Yes. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Calm down. I'm just asking.
Mr. Enoch?
Thank you, Eric. I will also make mine brief and short, but I am super happy to see the young people coming out to speak, give their voices in terms of how they want their futures to be like, the changes they want implemented, and then removing these oppressive regimes that are constantly coming up over and over again. And I'm seeing a very near, beautiful future for the country of Kenya, being led by the youth, and I can't wait.
Thank you. I think Everton is hanging. Yes, we are.
Yes,
thank you
here.
So much, Enoch.
All right, thank you so much, guys, for joining in. Really appreciate your participation. I'm so glad to see what's next, but
guys, it's been an conversation. It was a pleasure to have you guys on our session, and this is a new revolution. This is the future, and it's time for these youths to come out and talk about it, educate each other. Let to those who don't have information. If we can see baddies right now in the streets fighting, young people who you thought were on TikTok just doing nothing,
so
can
true.
get out
and
show they are really, really capable and they have knowledge. This is just the right time to come out. Let's mobilize each other. We want, and I feel like this is why Black Hot Fire was built.
It's
to fight for people.
It's so
and,
true.
To pass knowledge to Black people. So at the end of the day, it is the right time, and we need to change the world. Change begins from us. We need each other, and let's know that there is always key to unity.
It's so true. And one common goal. I feel like that's what we've been talking about here in regards to also, I think I've mentioned her so many times, Dr. Ari Khanna. She said that time needs to come when Africans will have one common goal to fight against everything that is not right in their countries. And we can see it happening right now because we all have one common goal. It's not about any tribe or anything about any individual society or culture, but it's one common goal affecting everybody. And that has been it with me, the lovely Iriton on Let's Pop with Iriton. And the topic again has been the review and update of the financial bill and also who is behind the bill. And it has been amazing with Mr. Erickson Othiambo and Enoch Thiongo, Miss Shimani, the gorgeous Shimani, Keith, the Black Hot Fire, and also I. Guys, have a great afternoon. We're going to thank you so much.
Okay, thank you guys. See you.
Thank you as well, Everton. Have a wonderful day.
See you. Thank you so much. And thank you so much, General Mosquito, joining us here today, saying there goes your show because keep joining. But thank you everybody for joining us this afternoon. Let's Pop with Iriton, talking about the finance bill. We're going to catch you later on the next show. And remember, you are the change you need to see in the world. Have a good one.
Zinatubastia kabombom kwa kona, mina squad iko chrome na maconmen na wakora na diploma za kuunganisha grogon makorola na bodo mnasorora